and welcome to another lawnfawn video. Today we are so excited to introduce our brand new die, ta-da, Diorama Maple Leaf Window Add-on. This die creates the cutest maple leaf window opening in your ta-da diorama cards. The other really cool thing is it cuts this amazing leaf that's really gorgeous for putting on standard cards too. So let's go ahead and check it out. This here is the main base piece from the ta-da diorama, and we're going to die cut that from some cardstock, and then show you how this new maple leaf window add-on works. So all you need to do is take your maple leaf die, line it up right in the center of this main base piece, then you can run it through the die cut machine, and you'll have this beautiful stitched window opening, and then this gorgeous fall leaf die that is absolutely stunning and so much fun to put on cards. So I love that it works for the ta-da diorama, and it also works on its own too, which is really awesome. Now here is what it looks like on the ta-da diorama. So we went ahead and built a ta-da diorama, and if you've never built a ta-da diorama before, make sure to check out our intro video. We will link it in the description below. And so here is what the ta-da diorama looks like when it's all built. As you open it up, you get this super cute leaf window frame into the most adorable scene. These cards just make me smile. I love that they fold flat for mailing, but they give you this amazing three-dimensional look. So now Shari is going to show you the cutest ta-da diorama. So take it away, Shari.
So I am creating a ta-da diorama card and I'll be using the falling leaves paper. I'll be using a combination of the petite paper pack as well as a 12 by 12. And I'm using the new ta-da diorama maple leaf window add-on. So I'll be cutting this out of the front and that's what we're going to see our cute little diorama through. So I'm cutting my front panel first from this piece from the petite paper pack with those little leaves. This is that reddish color. And when you see I cut this maple leaf out, I'll get this fun maple leaf shaped window, and it also has that really fun stitching detail around the outside edges. Now I do have this fun maple leaf that I can keep for another project. And then I'm also going to cut the same panel from what I want the background to be, which is this spiffy speckles sort of aqua color. That's going to be my sky in the back of my little scene. For the panels that go on each side that I will pull to open up the diorama, I'm cutting it from this 12 by 12 paper. This is also from the Falling Leaves collection, and this is that yellow color. And I'm lining it up with the grid so that when I put my two panels together, hopefully this grid will line up pretty well and it won't be too far off in the center where they meet. So I've cut two of those panels. You can see I've already folded one over there on the other side. I like to fold them to see where my score lines are and my folds, especially on this pattern because they're in the same direction as the pattern and they're kind of hard to see. Now I do need to cut those little slots, so I'll take the little pieces that cut the slots. The little arrows go towards the bottom and that little toe shaped piece points towards the large panel. So this one will go on the right, and then I have one that goes on the left in the opposite direction. And this is just going to cut those little slots for my pieces on the inside of the diorama to slide into. So you can see there how that is going to kind of go together. And now I can cut the two pieces that those will slide through. And I'm just cutting those from some white cardstock. Now for my inserts, I'm going to cut them from some kraft cardstock. I'm using the original straight one as well as that little grassy hillside. And you'll see when I get into this, I actually kind of modify that straight one, but I'll explain that when we get there. I stamped out the row of pumpkins from Simply Celebrate Fall and colored them with Copics. But for my little scarecrow girl here, I thought I would use the new coloring stencils to color her in. And I'm going to be using my distress inks. You can see those off to the side over there. I'm using those to color her in. I thought some of the distress ink colors matched my card a little bit better. So first I'm starting out with a stencil to color in her overalls, and I'm using Uncharted Mariner to color those in. I like to start with kind of my biggest coloring piece first with these stencils. Next, I'm moving on to her shirt, and I thought this crackling campfire matched the color of those falling leaves papers perfectly. So that is what I'm using for her shirt. Next up, I'm grabbing the stencil that is her face. It's also the post, which I'm using scorched timber for. And for her face, I thought I would use kind of a pale pink. So this is tattered rose, which is not a color I use very often. And it looks kind of dark, but once it kind of absorbs in, it has a nice peachy color and pinky color to it. So next up I have her hat, which I like to do yellow like straw very often, but this time I decided to go with bundled sage for a little green hat. I have a lot of yellow going on this card, so I thought it would be nice to change it up a little. And I'll use that same bundled sage for the waistband of her little dress. Now I'm using the stencil. This is for her hair and the straw coming out the bottom of her dress and her hands. And I'm using fossilized amber. And as you can see, the stencil leaves a void for the little ties for her pigtails, which I think is great. We can color those in a different color here in just a minute. Now I'm moving on to the ribbon on her hat and I'm pulling out that brush that was my crackling campfire. I do need to get a little more ink and get it a little darker, but this will make the ribbon on her hat match her shirt, which I like to do a lot. It makes her look very coordinated in her outfit, don't you think? Now we have those little pigtail holders and I decided to use the same blue as her blue jean dress. And there's, of course, the little buttons. I'm just going to go with that same brown instead of grabbing more colors. So we have some little brown buttons. And then finally, there is a little stencil for her nose. And I'm just going to make that brown as well. Now she's looking pretty cute, but I always like to add a little more detail, especially to their shirts. So it's usually a plaid, or in this case, I'm doing some little white dots to make it look polka dot. And I just think that's fun to make it look like it is a patterned shirt underneath the overalls. And then, of course, I can grab my coordinating die, line that up, hold it in place with a little bit of low tack tape, and run it through my die cut machine and get a perfectly cut out little scarecrow. Now I need to assemble my Tada diorama. So I have my white little pieces here that's going to create some slots for my yellow pieces to slide through. I'm adding a little bit of liquid glue on those little folds. They fold back and then you line up the little notch with the notch on the panel. And I'm using liquid glue so I can kind of shift them around, get them in the right place, and then they'll be nice and sturdy. Now for these little yellow panels here that are going to pull to the left and the right, we only want to put adhesive on that skinny panel right at the back. And I've done that to the other one. Now I can line it up and my die cutting worked out pretty good. Those grids are pretty well lined up there. Now, I did forget that I wanted to stamp some corn stalks on this spiffy speckles paper to create a cornfield in the background. I kind of wish I'd done that before I taped these down, but I just forgot. So I have a little trick to make it happen. I'm just going to mask off those yellow pieces of paper so I can stamp my corn stalks and they look like they go behind those pieces of pattern paper. So I'll just mask this off with some post-it note tape so that I don't stamp on my yellow pattern paper. And then I have that solid corn stalk stamp from Happy Harvest and some artichoke ink, and I'm just going to fill this background piece with some corn stalks to go behind her. And I like that I can kind of vary the heights. You won't see the bottoms of them because they'll be hidden, so it doesn't really matter, but you get that kind of variation in height. Now I'm adding my pumpkins to that straight insert, which goes in the front. And I'm going to tear these off here in a little bit and change it, and you're going to see why. I have that straight line across the top, which until I got it into the diorama, I didn't really think about. And I wanted to cut it off so it looked like she was in a pumpkin patch. So I'm just folding those little tabs down so that I can get that insert in there when I'm ready. For the insert that's going to go behind where my scarecrow is going to go, I'm adding a little bit of fossilized amber distress oxide to that kraft cardstock so it has a bit of a yellow hue. And I'm just kind of checking to make sure that I glue her down where she can be seen. I don't want her too high on this piece because then her head will get cut off in the opening or in the window that we're looking at there. So that's what I'm checking there to make sure that she's glued down far enough. Now I can fold those little tabs, slide them through the slots, and then I'll open them back up and it will hold them in place. And then I will do the same for the pumpkins. I've already folded those tabs down. You saw me do that earlier. Now these pumpkins happen to be the perfect height to slide into these slots. I didn't have to do any trimming, but now I have this straight line across the top. And if I had made it look like a fence or something, that would be great, but it doesn't. And I didn't like it. So you're going to see me put this all the way together by sliding my yellow panels through those slots. And then I'll flip this over and check it out, and this is where I decided I didn't like it. Luckily though, we can easily slide these pieces out and make some modifications. So I'm going to pull out those pumpkins. I put this down with some adhesive runner instead of my liquid glue, so that was a good choice in that respect. I am tracing the tops of the pumpkins with a pencil so I kind of have a guide, and I'm just going to pull this off, set it to the side, and then take my scissors. Now, don't cut off the tab, but I can cut it down to where the top of this piece of kraft cardstock ends up below my pumpkins. So now when I add my pumpkins, she's gonna look like she's down in the pumpkin patch rather than behind a kraft cardstock wall. So I'm just gonna slide these back in, fold those tabs in, slide it in the slot, open up the tabs, and now that looks so much better. And then I can slide these into the tabs on the back of the front panel, and my ta-da diorama is all put back together. Now I like to put mine onto a card base, so I will cover a card base with some of the falling leaves paper. I thought that this pretty brownish taupe color was perfect to go in the background. It doesn't distract from all the pretty colors that are part of my ta-da diorama. So now I'm just adding my ta-da diorama mechanism to my card base. I am using liquid glue so that it holds it in place nicely, and this also allows me to kind of shift it around, make sure it's nice and straight. And look at how cute that is. She's just so cute inside that maple leaf opening. Now I need to add a sentiment, and I didn't want to distract from the pretty leaf opening, so I'm going to keep my sentiment very simple. And I'm just using the sentiment from Simply Celebrate Fall. It says, have a happy fall, but I just want to use the words happy and fall. I have a little sentiment banner here. I'm going to stamp fall to one side. Now, this one's actually the second word. You're going to see how this comes together. This is going to go in the bottom right corner. I'm masking off the word fall so I can just ink up the word happy. And then this one is going to go in the top left corner. So I can use one sentiment strip and just trim it off. So I have happy and fall. And now I can just add these to the top and bottom to make that sentiment on the front panel. And I thought this was a good way to have a sentiment that didn't distract from that beautiful maple leaf shape. Now I am going to add a couple embellishments, some little leaves. These all just sit in my drawer when I cut extras, so they're easy to pull a couple from. The three I have sitting there are from the Leafy Tree Backdrop Portrait die set, and I just have two shades of green. I thought that these looked really good on this falling leaves paper, so I'll just add those. And of course, those are the perfect opportunity to add some glitter, so I'm just adding some stickles to those three little leaves on the front panel. And then here is my finished ta-da diorama card with that maple leaf window and a cute little crow girl inside with the pumpkin patch and the corn in the background. I also really love the falling leaves paper and I cannot get enough of it.
Oh my goodness, Shari, this card is so cute. I love the surprise of opening it up and seeing that super cute You Crow Girl scarecrow in there. It's just so sweet and perfect for fall. And now I'm going to create a card using the maple leaf. Instead of using it for the Ta-Da diorama, we're going to use it on a standard card. So here we have some black cardstock, and this is a double-sided adhesive sheet. I love these double-sided adhesive sheets because it turns your cardstock into a sticker you can die cut. So we're going to peel up the liner paper and then just layer that onto the back of this black cardstock. Then we can go ahead and just take our maple leaf die there, and we're going to run that through the die cut machine. Then we went ahead and did this for a bunch of other colors of cardstock too. So we cut a little piece of cardstock and then layered some awesome double-sided adhesive sheets on the back. And now we're going to die cut this leaf from all of these different colors of cardstock. And here are all of these leaves. So first we're going to work with the leaf that we cut from some black licorice cardstock. And we're also going to create a card base here. So we have a card base that's 5.5 by 4.25 and some beautiful falling leaves paper in this really nice neutral. And we're just going to layer that onto the card base. Then what we're going to do is just take the frame from this leaf. So with the other leaves, we're going to be using the interior pieces, but for this leaf, we're going to use the outer frame. And because we die cut it with that cardstock that has that double-sided adhesive sheet on it, it's going to be like a cool little sticker that we can layer right onto the card. And I'm so grateful to have my little helper Miles here helping me layer my card piece right on top. So now we have this little leaf and it's effectively kind of like a little puzzle. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take all these different leaf pieces, we'll peel them up off of that sticker back, and we can just drop them right into the leaf. What I love about this is that now I'm going to be able to make a ton of different leaf cards. I can use the outer frame from all of these to have different colorful outer frame pieces, and then I can use all of the interior pieces. Now, of course, you could use liquid glue and put the pieces down. You don't have to use the double-sided adhesive sheets, but it just made it a little bit easier, especially because I want to make a ton of these leaf cards using these pieces. I think it is so much fun to layer in these pieces. I don't know what it is, but I find it so relaxing, and seeing the whole design come to life is so pretty. Now, what's cool about this is no matter how you add your colors in, it's going to look gorgeous. So every single different version of the leaf that you might make, it's going to look absolutely amazing. I also love the idea of adding in this gold metallic cardstock because it just makes it feel just a little extra special. And right now, I am recreating a card by Elise. So thank you so much, Elise, for this beautiful and gorgeous design. Now, I really wanted this leaf to kind of be the star of the show because it's just so absolutely beautiful. So we're just going to have a nice simple sentiment on here. And for the sentiment, we're going to be using one of my favorite stamp sets, which is You Autumn Know. And it's got some really cute little phrases in it. So we're going to go ahead and stamp those in some clear embossing ink onto some black licorice cardstock that we prepped with an anti-static powder tool. Then we can sprinkle on some white heat embossing powder and then heat it up with the heat tool to have a nice bright white shiny sentiment. Then we're going to use our paper trimmer just to trim around them, creating rectangles around both parts of the sentiment. Then we'll just layer some tape runner behind these and then just add them onto the card. And I think this is just such a gorgeous, clean, and simple card. Oh my gosh, I mean, it's just so beautiful and it was so much fun to make. And my son was practicing some of his reading and I just had to share it with you because it was so cute. Oh my gosh, so just indulge my little mom moment here because it's so sweet.
How much I love you.
Good job, sweetie.
All right, I hope that made you smile. And right here, you can see the cards finished. That gold metallic cardstock in there makes it so pretty. I think it'd be really pretty with maybe some like sparkle cardstock too. Oh, it would be absolutely gorgeous. And I just love this card so much. It was so much fun to make. So thank you so much for this gorgeous design, Elise. And next up, we have some incredible cards by the design team with some really fun ideas for this die. And first up, we have this awesome Ta-Da diorama by Grace. I love the little fall leaf paper shining through the window with those cute little squirrels, and as you open it up, you get the rest of the scene with the little reading squirrel on top of the toadstool. Like, I can't. This is just the cutest thing ever. It is just so very, very sweet. Now, next up, this card by Audrey, I thought it was just so clever because, yes, you can die cut the window from the ta-da, but you could die cut a window from your card base too. And she did that and then layered little strips of pattern paper behind it to create the most gorgeous and stunning card. Mindy's Ta-Da diorama is so sweet and just makes me smile, and she uses the You Autumn Know stamp set, which is just adorable, and the cute little surprise of the mouse bouncing in the leaves as you open up the Ta-Da diorama is so fun. This card by Letitia is so pretty. I love how she die cut the leaf window opening, layered it back in, and had pattern paper behind it. Oh, it's just beautiful. And then this card by Elise is the one that inspired us to make ours today, and it is just stunning as well. Here, this card is so much fun. We have our cute little ta-da diorama, and I love that we layered the fun little kind of frame piece on the window too. And then as you open it up, you have the little woodland library critters hiding inside, which is just so sweet. And then this card by Elena is just stunning with the giant happy fall sentiment. It's just perfect. So we cannot wait to see all of your maple leaf cards, so make sure to share them with us. Thank you so much for watching today, and I hope you have an absolutely amazing day. Bye!